So before you can heal a wound, you must first acknowledge the fact that there is a wound that needs to be healed, right? I feel like that's something that a lot of people tend to struggle with, is that they don't acknowledge to themselves that they do need to change. I think it goes without saying, like, in order to grow yourself as a being, we must change, and there's no getting around that. But the first step in becoming your highest self is first acknowledging that your old self is holding you back. We all want to reach our highest selves, but it seems as though a lot of people are conflicted with what that higher version of themselves looks like based on, what it is that they see online and a lot of the influences that we're exposed to. So it stirs up a lot of confusion as far as what our ideal self looks like. People get so away from their truest identity and who it is that they know that they're supposed to be based on this perception. But I totally feel you, man, because in order to grow yourself, as I alluded to, you must recognize that there is a need for change, but acknowledging the fact that you need to change is very uncomfortable because you're essentially acknowledging your weaknesses to yourself. And by acknowledging those weaknesses to yourself directly and looking at them in the face, you are faced with an immense amount of discomfort. But don't fall into the trap of facing what I call, your demons or your weaknesses, however you want to describe them, and spend more time feeling ashamed that these weaknesses aren't strengths, and use that time and energy to cultivate a new version of yourself. The more comfortable that you can become with facing that discomfort head on, the more natural it'll become for you to accelerate this process, for you to step into this new version of yourself. And this applies to several different areas of your life, right? So I know we're all faced with different internal challenges, and one may not be challenging for another person, but the principle of being able to become comfortable with discomfort applies into all areas. And that's the best part about this. If you can really get a grasp of that understanding, you won't feel the need to procrastinate in changing yourself and acknowledging the areas in which you need to grow in. So that's the first step. And anybody who knows me knows what an advocate I am for, writing and writing things down, and just my belief in the power of putting a pen to paper or pencil to paper, whatever it is. So a piece of advice that I would give to someone who's watching this right now is, if you do feel stuck in one area of your life, I would suggest writing down the areas in your life in which you feel stuck, so you can bring more clarity to the areas in which you want to grow in. And then afterwards, creating a game plan for how you can shed off those old layers becomes a lot more clear and a lot more effortless, because you know what you're working with and where to begin. So the first step is, again, just bringing more awareness to the areas in which you need to grow in, and writing them down can help accelerate that process a lot. In order to really do this effectively though, you need to embody a growth mindset, and that's just facts. Okay, and a growth mindset suggests that you have this belief that with dedication and persistence, you can improve your skills, you can improve yourself, as opposed to a lot of people who live within a fixed mindset and believe that they are as they are, they were born this way, and that's just how it's going to be, right? There are a lot of people that think that way, and that's just the truth. But you need to embody a growth mindset, practice it consistently to the point where it becomes natural, and you don't have to remind yourself to think through that particular perspective. So a quick example as to how I was able to apply a growth mindset into my life was early on in my fitness journey. When I first started working out, I was going to the gym very consistently, but I wasn't seeing the results that I wanted. And I was thinking to myself, I guess these are just the cards that I've been dealt. This is just how it's going to be for me. But I wasn't eating the best diet. So when I shifted my mindset into a growth mindset and told myself, no, I can continue to try new strategies, practice new habits, tweak my routines, tweak my lifestyle in regards to what it is that I'm consuming. And I started eating a lot cleaner foods. And it was a little challenging at first because, you have to reset your palate. You're consuming foods that you're not accustomed to eating as often, and you change your perspective on, okay, although it might not taste like what it is that I'm used to, I'm consuming foods that agree with my body a lot better. So that's just a quick example as to how I was able to demonstrate a growth mindset into that one area of my life. And with persistence and dedication, you start seeing results, you start getting stronger, and just start to like what you see in front of the mirror a lot more. But I totally get it. Adopting a growth mindset doesn't happen overnight, especially when you've been thinking one way for so long. It becomes habitual. That is your current way of thinking. So in order to change that and to make it natural, it does require a lot of consistency and persistence. But again, positive affirmations, surrounding yourself with the right people, whether it be in online communities or people outside of you, friends, family, whatever it is, as long as they're contributing to the growth and to the evolution of yourself, that goes a long way into being able to practice a growth mindset long term and to make it natural. That's what the goal is, to make it natural. But the key within all of this, in being who you actually were meant to be, and who you truly are is detaching from old identities. Because I know with myself, growing up, I was surrounded by so many different people that, didn't really contribute to my growth. You bounce from like different circles of friends, and you pick up on a lot of their traits and their habits and their beliefs, right? So you need to detach from old identities and habits that don't serve you. I know there was a period in my life when I was in pursuit of a pretty drastic shift in regards to my identity, how I perceived myself. So I was working like a lot of jobs growing up. I worked in like retail, and I was even like a gas pump attendant. Yeah, I had like a bunch of different jobs, and I had this desire to shift into this new identity as an entrepreneur and someone who could create their own path. And it was difficult because, as I said, like I was within all these different like circles of friends who didn't think that way and who thought in lack, didn't think that lifestyle could actually be attained, didn't think it was realistic or sustainable. And it was always just a matter of like having a job. And it was pretty difficult because, when you're surrounded by that type of energy, but your desires don't align with the energy that surrounds you, a lot of willpower is required and consistency to change the perception that you have of yourself and to change your perception of what is possible and what you believe that you can achieve. But at the end of the day, it just comes down to focus, where you put your energy and attention, and if you have the ability to recognize where your energy and attention is being put. Because we have a lot of thoughts throughout the day, like that's just a given. Like our minds are working, even when we're asleep, they're still working. But do you have the awareness to pick up on what used to be unconscious thoughts? Because if you can pick up on the unconscious thoughts, you can change them and alter your beliefs in a way that aligns with your new identity and who it is that you're meant to become. And another thing that I've learned within myself is changing the way that I see myself has had so much to do with the habits that I practice on a consistent basis. Because when you're practicing productive habits consistently, it's very hard for your mind not to believe that you have stepped into this new identity. Because now you have evidence, you have proof that, look, I'm waking up at 5:30 in the morning every day grinding. I'm hitting the gym. I'm eating clean. I'm prioritizing sleep. I'm not surrounding myself with toxic people. I'm doing all that I can to be the best that I can be. I'm taking inspired action regularly. It's very difficult for your mind not to accept that you are this new person and that you have shed off this old identity. So just let go of that, man. It doesn't matter who you used to be, who you used to surround yourself with. Let go of the past. Forgive yourself and continue to propel forward. And although yes, taking action is very powerful and it can really help accelerate the process in changing the way that you see yourself and identifying yourself with this new person that you're stepping into, but it's not the only component within this process. And I think that's very important to make note of. Visualizing is very powerful. Like I just can't stress it enough. Just seeing your life the way that you want it to be, experiencing it in your mind's eye, going to sleep in that energy where you're visualizing these things that you want to experience in your life and what's possible, who you can become, is a very powerful habit that I really encourage you to take advantage of. And quick tip, y'all, when you are visualizing, particularly before bed, visualize yourself experiencing the things that are associated with this new identity. Don't view yourself on like a movie screen and watch yourself in third person. You need to physically be within the quote unquote scene. So you can see your arm as you lift your arm, you can feel that person's hand that you are shaking. Just little things like that go a long way. Trust me on that one. So I know we kind of already touched on the importance of your circles and surrounding yourself with the right people and the impact that it can have on you, your beliefs, how you perceive yourself, what you believe to be possible. But I really do encourage you to evaluate your current relationships and ask yourself genuinely, are these relationships contributing to my growth? Or do they just drain me? Do I feel a pressure to maintain these relationships because I've known these people for an extended period of time? Do I fear that I might have to deal with an immense amount of guilt if I were to cut off these relationships, although I know that they aren't serving me and that they aren't contributing to my growth? It does take a bold person to be able to cut off these relationships because there's nobody that cares about you the way that you care about you. And if cutting off relationships that don't actually fuel you or motivate you or inspire you or give you energy, then you have to cut them off, whether they be friends or family. Because you can have people that are in your bloodline, but that doesn't mean that they contribute to your growth. So I feel like coming to terms with what actually is requires a certain level of vulnerability to yourself of what the truth actually is. And then it becomes a lot easier to make well-informed decisions for your life, so then you can finally let go of who you used to be and step into the identity that you were meant to. And I know it can be difficult too, man. Like when you look outside of yourself and you may not have those circles available to you, you may not have the friend group or the support from your family that you would hope for, but don't dwell on that more than you need to. What I would highly suggest is looking at online communities and finding accountability partners and people that you can work alongside with and grow together. Again, it can be a little uncomfortable if you haven't taken that type of action yet, but give it a shot, and see how it works for you. And if you are looking for an online community to join, you can look into ours. We've really done our best to cultivate a very supportive, safe space for people to grow alongside one another. So yeah, if that's something you're interested in, go check that out. But one of the last things I really want to make note of is, as cliche as it might sound, y'all, just really embrace the journey, man. Like, seriously. I think there's something really beautiful about having a mission in place for yourself and have something to strive towards, because it's ongoing, right? It really isn't one particular destination that we're trying to get to, because I know within myself, I know in my life, whenever I have set a goal in place for myself and then I have gotten to that goal or I have achieved that goal, there was a next goal and then a next goal and then a next goal, right? And that's the beauty of this journey that we're all on. Like, there are infinite ways for us to grow and to develop ourselves. So stop looking at this goal of yours or this person that you're trying to become as something that's so far away, because then it's going to be a lot harder for you to remain motivated and to enjoy like this path that you have set in place for yourself. You know what I mean? Your highest self is waiting for you, but you must be willing to let go of who you were. Embrace the journey, as I said, and just trust the process. Take inspired action every day, and remember that you do have the power to redefine your identity and step into the person that you were always meant to be. Most people don't have the attention span to watch a video like this all the way through, so I genuinely appreciate your time, your energy, and I am wishing you all the best, because if you're consuming content like this, we are definitely aligned to a degree. So sending you lots of love and positive energy. If you did enjoy the video, man, drop a like and consider subscribing to the channel, and share this video with someone who needs that extra ounce of motivation. You know what I'm saying? Because we all need that little boost from time to time. Appreciate y'all, man, and I'll check y'all in the next video. It is KT signing off.